everybody. It's the Van Show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are very excited because today we have a very special guest. We have Rick Klaw. Say hello, Rick.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, no, it's you.
Yeah, I know. I was looking for the special guest. It's like, wow, this is great, the special guest. I'm so excited.
No, you are the special guest. We're excited to see you.
Well, that's good,
Yes.
I guess. Somebody should be excited. Oh. Yeah. No, yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Well, I mean, first of all, tell us where you're from. Well, I mean, we know you're Rick Klaw, but now we want to know where Rick Klaw lives.
Well, I'm not giving you my address, but I live in Austin.
Oh, you do?
I've been here for over 30 years, 35 years. I would not have my career if I hadn't moved to Austin.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Austin in the 90s, early 90s, was a big artistic community here. There were a lot of writers. I remember in the early 90s, there was a report released that there were more writers per capita in Austin than anywhere else in the country. So I came here and I became an editor because nobody else would do it. And I'm, of course, cutting a lot of things out. And the kind of editor I am, when I meet people and I say I'm an editor, and they assume immediately that I'm good with grammar, I notice mistakes in books. I'm not that kind of editor. I'm very bad at, I'm not good at it. I'm not a great speller. I mean, I'm an okay speller. I'm not really great at punctuation. I had a good friend of mine. For a while, I was an essayist, for a long time, actually. And I had a friend of mine who told me that I never met a comma I like. And so I'd forget, I'm not really great with punctuation. So it makes me a crappy copy editor, but I'm a book editor. And what I'm really good at is developing books, making them happen. This just came out. I edited a book called The Legend of Charlie Fish. This guy named Josh Roundtree. I think you met Josh.
We did?
Yeah. With Josh, when we turned the book in, it was a short novella, which was like, I don't know, 24,000 words, 25,000 words, maybe. And I got the book and I thought, this is really good. You got this kernel of an idea, but it needs more. And so I had him put another perspective. The book was all told from the point of view of Ned. Floyd, sorry. I edited more than one book and, it's all gone.
Yeah.
And so I said, you need another perspective to kind of explain things a little bit. And he added the whole thing with Nellie. This is a female, she's a 13-year-old female. And it makes the book work. The book it's a much better book when you did. I didn't write it for him. If I talk to a writer and I say, hey, I'd like to make some changes in your book. I think this may work. It's not a fait accompli. You don't have to do it. But you need to fix, the changes. But I'm not going to do it for you. That's not my job.
Yeah.
I have written, and I've written a lot, but my job is not to write your book. My job is to help you make your book better. I'm tickled because almost every review talks about their favorite bit is Nellie, the part that he added in, which was 25,000 words.
Wow.
So he almost doubled the book size by adding in, and it changed it completely. And then I came up with the title. He had a terrible title for the book. And I read the draft and I said, no, this is a weird Western, and we're going to call it The Legend of Charlie Fish. I did Joe R. Lansdale's Things Get Ugly, the best crime stories of Joe R. Lansdale. Joe is, he's a Texas legend, and he hates when you call him that because he says that means I'm old. Hate to tell you this, Joe. But Joe and I have a long professional relationship, and we're also very good friends. This is my 7th or 8th book I edited for Tachyon of Joe's work. And this is the best crime stories, and Joe's crime stories are not like anybody else's crime stories. See, my job on this book was to help select the stories and determine the order of the stories in the book. And, Joe wrote introductions to each of the stories, and so it's a different kind of relationship than for Legend of Charlie Fish. I'm doing 2 more of Joe's books coming up. We're doing the best, Tachyon is doing the best Lovecraft tales of Joe R. Lansdale, stuff that's in the Lovecraft mythos. Uh-huh. So it's going to be a whole collection of those. And then and then that's next year. What's that, 2024? Yeah, we're in 2024.
Yes.
And then 2025, it's going to be the best horror of Joe R. Lansdale.
So I want to ask you, though, it sounds like all of the authors that you work with all listen to every word you say
Oh, God,
and do
yeah.
everything that you want them to
Of course,
do.
I'm a god. What do you want? No, I'm
Right?
kidding. They don't, and you get in fights.
Do you ever have like an adversarial relationship where it's like, I want you to do this, and they're like, no.
No, I've been lucky for most of my career where I've been able to pick and choose who I edit for. So you work around them. I mean, I've had artists and writers. I did comics too, so I dealt with both. Where yes, you'll have problems if they don't want to do something or they don't agree with you, and you kind of part of my job is negotiating, getting to a point where you say, okay, that's not going to work, but we need to do it. Just try doing that, and maybe we'll be somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
Doesn't always work, but that's what you try for the best. I'm in your face, I'm confrontational, I say what's on my mind. Some people like it, some don't. And some creators are uncomfortable with that. So like when I sat down with Josh, I said to him, I said, look, I think we can make this story work and get it published, but you're gonna have to hear what I have to say, and it's not gonna always be great. And I'm not gonna tell you that you're a genius all the time and everything's perfect. But the fact that I'm sitting with here talking to you about it means that I like it enough to sit here and talk to you about it. If I didn't have that baseline. But yeah, sometimes you gotta get the writer divorced, their ego has to be divorced from the work. It's like when you get reviews and stuff, because again, I've edited a lot and I've had my own writing. And you get reviews and things, and I wrote a lot of reviews. And as a creative person, there's two things that you want to happen. You want somebody to either hate it, like loathe it, like some kind of visceral reaction that they hated it, or they loved it completely. And the problem is the stuff in the middle where they kind of go, eh.
Yeah.
And as a creator, you hate that because you didn't do anything.
Right.
If they got to a point where they loathed it, hated it, you did something right.
Yep.
Okay? You touched the nerve. Somewhere in there, somebody's angry at you. And they got to the other end, again, you touched the nerve. And I've been approached my entire career, which is over 30 years now, I've always approached everything I do that way. I don't want somebody to I want to push that little bit more. I was mentioning Joe earlier. Like I said, I have a long history with him. We did a book called Weird Business, which at the time nobody had ever done. It came out in 95 or 96, I can't remember which one. It was a book, it was 420-page hardback comic anthology of all original material written by fantasy and horror writers and done by comic book artists. And at the time, the world was different. Mojo, I had this vision that a world where publishers would do comics and prose books. And we ended up doing prose books. We did some books by Michael Moorcock, we did some Lansdale books, we did a couple other ones. And the idea that bookstores would carry both of them equally. And then publishers would publish both equally. And that is what has happened. And the book came out, and the comic shops didn't know what to do with it because it looked like a book, but it had all these big writers in it, but it was a comic, and it was expensive. And bookstores didn't know what to do with it because you had all these big writers, but we're still a comic book. And it's not for kids, so we don't know what to do with it. And it got all these great reviews, these amazing reviews, and it didn't sell. But the thing that had an effect on my career, it was like throwing a big rock into a pool. Suddenly everybody knew who I was because here was this book that people had been hearing about and everybody thought it was impossible to do, and it came out. There are a lot of things in publishing that are beyond your control.
Okay.
No matter what you do, you could do the best work possible and it just doesn't sell, and there may be no real reason why it doesn't sell.
Well, something I'm hearing here, I think a lot of people, me included, kind of assumed that editing was a more subtractive process. But like from what it sounds like you are an additive editor. Like you took this 100-page book and turned it into like a behemoth. You told Josh to write an extra, like double his book in length. You know what I mean? Like it seems kind of like counter to what I've understood an editor does.
Well, to me, an editor, a book editor especially, or a developmental editor, they've called that sometimes, I see myself as a partner with the writer. I'm not his enemy, or she's her enemy. It doesn't really matter. I'm not the enemy. I am there to help make the book better. Now, sometimes it means we have to have more, we have to have less. It's whatever makes book ending. Like I made Josh change the ending on Charlie Fish. I said that ending doesn't work, and I had him chop it off completely. And he'll agree with you now. It's a much better ending the way it is now.
It was a bit of a difficult conversation.
Right, but it's a necessary one.
Yeah.
Because that's my job. It's to make and I'm there to help make the book better. I'm not there to. If the book's going to be the way I want the book exactly, then I'm going to write the damn book. It's going to be my book. My name's not on the cover of the book.
Well, Rick, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been really fun.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Bye.
Van Show.